I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
And I'm Ina Enfield.
And I'm an actual billy goat.
Bah.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Bah. Yeah, that was my attempt to make multiple different billy goat noises, and
You're covering all the bases.
just in case we had a variety of different billy goats. Yeah, and you're probably wondering, where's Chris? He's in Alaska.
He sure is.
We did get an update from him, so he's not dead by the Bushman. If you didn't watch our Alaskan cryptids episode, basically the Bushman is like it's basically the Bigfoot's like hyper aggressive cousin.
That's a good description.
So yeah, Chris is not dead by that. He is going to be hiking in the woods supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes for him. But that is why Chris is not here today. But Eenie has joined us because we're going to be talking about the Villisca Ax Murder House.
Oh, yeah.
And you're probably wondering, didn't you already talk about that? We did, but Eenie actually went to the Villisca Ax Murder House. So we're going to be discussing. But before we get into that, so something we had been doing on the fix, and we decided to make it until we run out of cryptids in this book, and then I will get more cryptids for us, a permanent feature onto the podcast. Basically, I went to Charleston about a month ago, and I went into a bookstore. I don't remember what it was called, but it was in Park Circle, very cute bookstore. And I came across this book called Cryptids, Creatures, and Critters. And of course, it caught my eye because we had the Flatwoods Monster right here, looking lovely as ever in her dress, frolicking. And so basically, it is a book of a ton of different cryptids with little illustrations of them. And so what I've been doing is we have been flipping to a random page, and it gives you a description, kind of a light breakdown of what the cryptid is. So for all you cryptid lovers, we're going to go ahead and pick our cryptid of the day, or cryptid of the week, I should say. So boop-a-da-boop-a-da-boo. Ooh. It starts it's pretty
almost my last name.
It's almost Enie's last name.
Oh, really?
The Enfield Horror.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is what it looks like for those of you who are watching. It doesn't look pleasant. The location is Enfield, Illinois, in the United States. Its category is monster. Not to be confused with the Enfield Poltergeist of London. I didn't realize there were so many Enfield creatures, but here we are. The Enfield Horror struck in 1973 in Enfield, Illinois. A scratching sound drew Henry McDaniel outside his house, where he shot at a creature that he initially believed to be a bear until he pulled a flashlight out. The Enfield Horror is covered in gray fur and has a short, thick body with 3 C's.
3 C's.
Mm-hmm. 3 legs, each foot with 6 toes, just to keep it equal. And then 2 short arms ending in claws and 2 giant pink eyes.
Oh, wow.
It stands at just over 4 feet. So basically like an elementary school size child. And shrieks like a wildcat. Despite its cumbersome...
Like that?
That's exactly what it sounds like. Good job.
Dope. Thank you.
Despite its cumbersome appearance, it moves very quickly. The Enfield Horror leaves behind footprints with 2 prints side by side, the 3rd foot marginally in front and slightly smaller. The Enfield Horror has been compared to the Mount Vernon monster witnessed in 1942, as they both produce loud shrieking noises and hop or jump like a kangaroo to travel.
Wow.
The creature. I love it. The creature has not been seen since a series of sightings in 1973, but many believe that the horror is still out there. Now, mind you, this is 1973. There were a lot of psychedelics going on back then, so we're not going to claim that this hopping, three-legged, six-toed kangaroo
Short arms.
was not a consequence of that, but still very fun. And anytime we do one of these, if y'all are particularly interested in this cryptid, we can do a deep dive into that cryptid. But that is our cryptid of the week.
Noise.
If I ever get back to playing roller derby again, because I had to quit because of plantar fasciitis problems, if I get to a point where I can skate again, I have been entertaining the idea of adopting like a new derby name and maybe Edenfield horror.
Ooh, that's cool.
And
That's cool.
and
I
just
like
skate
it.
with T-Rex arms.
I mean, I kind of do that anyway.
And you can get pink contacts or pink eyeshadow, whichever. It's
I like this.
that's good. That's really good.
This has a lot of possibilities.
Yes.
And I'm short and thick, so.
So there you go.
Weeks.
So there you go. So that is our cryptid of the week, and we're going to continue doing this, like I said, until that book runs out of cryptids. So next, though, we do want to thank our new para junkies. I feel like I'm hosting a town hall.
Next up,
Next
let's
up
thank the Parajunkies.
on the agenda, we want to thank Carolyn Berry, Rachel Presley, Lisa Parker, Kimberly Locke, Sara with no H, and Shauna. Thank y'all so much for joining us over on the Parajunkie side of things.
What are they getting out there, Parajunkie Madison?
Well, they get the fix. So basically, before we film these episodes, which we live stream for the Parajunkies, they basically get about a 30-minute private discussion with us. We usually talk about paranormal encounters or things that we're interested in at that moment. We talk about lots of random things. We talk about witchcraft. We talk about today the variety of different cryptid and paranormal fests that are going on in the U.S. this summer. Elle's telling us all about her experiences with the animals down in Australia because she is a zoology major. So she went down there to see all the things she saw an echidna. So we discussed the echidna and things like that. But also you get a full access to our entire library, completely ad-free. Which is very long. So you can literally listen to us all day, every day if you really wanted to, and you still have content to go through. So you get access to that. You get access to all of the episodes before anybody else does, ad-free entirely, always. And then also you do get access to the group chats that we have. So we do have a variety of different group chats. Some of them are based off a tier, depending on what tier that you select. So there's like an ultra para junkies only group chat, but there's also the main group chat, which has everybody in it. We have a few
Anonymous.
Para Junkies Anonymous. We do have a couple other group chats for some subtopics. I'm going to be we need to write it down because I meant to add this before this next episode, but I'm going to be adding a sub chat because it seems like some of you were interested in it. That was alien/true crime based.
Oh,
so
that's
that
cool.
we discuss
I like that.
those sort of things as well because there is a Fae Daddies chat. So I feel like the alien and the true crime people also need a little space to talk about those things. So
cool.
So yeah. And speaking of true crime, the Villisca Ax murders.
Ooh.
Now, Eenie,
Yes.
what brought you to the Villisca Ax murder?
So this was actually coordinated by my friend Lexi, who is she started this Instagram a few years ago. If you'd like to check her out, is October all year long _.
Oh, that's my type of person.
Yeah.
I like
and
that.
she's local. So y'all should
cool.
totally have her on the podcast.
Oh, yeah,
She's
we
really
definitely
cool.
should.
But she had posted on her chat on Instagram about, hey, I'm looking into maybe coordinating a group paranormal investigation somewhere where we pick a destination and we go. And so a few of us responded, and it was people from all over the country. Some had been on paranormal investigations. One person, Chrissy, had never been on an investigation before.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Cut your teeth on the murder house.
Yep.
That's a good place to start. And so we narrowed it down to a couple of different places. We coordinated our schedules, and we all decided that we were going to check out the Villisca Ax Murder House because it would be like a fairly equal distance for all of us to have to fly or drive there.
Sure.
And where is it again?
It is
Iowa.
middle
It's
of
in
nowhere,
middle
Iowa.
of nowhere. Okay.
The closest airport is Omaha, Nebraska.
Wow.
And
Oh
then
my
it's like
gosh.
an hour plus drive from there.
That's not too bad, at
It's
least.
not too bad.
That's still wild.
Still
Right.
pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chrissy, who never been on an investigation before, start coordinating because she and I are both flying in from the East Coast. We're landing at the same airport about the same time. And we're like, yeah, we'll just get an Airbnb together. We'll drive over there together. And we get an Airbnb in Villisca, which is an important detail for later.
Oh, good.
And we arrived there like a day early so we can get plenty of sleep ahead of time because I was like, we need as much sleep as possible, especially if we're going to be investigating overnight because I don't like to be sleep deprived.
Yes.
I feel you on that.
And the day that we are going to investigate, we sleep as much as possible. We coordinate with Lexi. Lexi is in town, and she's going to check out the Villisca Ax Murder House early. So we go meet up with her. And we walk around the house, and it looks like a little country house from the early 1900s, kitchen, sitting room. There is a bedroom downstairs that belonged to the Moore's daughter, the Moores being the family that was killed there. And then there's this teeny tiny staircase that goes up from the kitchen into the bedroom space upstairs. As soon as you get up to the top of the stairs, there's the parents' bedroom, and you walk past that, and there's the little boy's bedroom. There's also an attic upstairs that they have very nicely filled with some creepy dolls.
Well, of course they
What is
have.
with these houses? They're like, we have a haunted house, so we have to put creepy dolls in them.
You got it.
Yeah.
And all of us walked in, and we were like, why?
Why is this happening?
So you did an overnight at it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. How much did that cost?
I don't remember. I want to say it was about $150 per person.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It wasn't bad.
That's not bad. Dang.
Yeah, so it was really, really affordable. And we had the entire place to ourselves that night. That house does not have any electricity. There is an electrical outlet outside the house
Okay.
that they could plug in this like window air conditioning unit, I guess, when it does get hot up there.
Sure.
But we were there in April. So we're still wearing coats and jackets and everything. We were actually told that we got there on a warmer day.
Wow.
As my poor little southern butt is in like multiple layers. Staying there like, oh, this is warm. Nice.
Oh, good.
But they have behind it, there's a barn that has a bathroom and there's a little break area. So we all decided ahead of time we're going to fill that with snacks and water and sodas and everything so that during the investigation, if things get too intense or, whatever, we can step out there and take a break. They actually have a space in the barn set up where you can have cots. And you can pay extra to have a cot up there. So if anybody does need to go take a nap, they can go up there, which we decided not to do that.
Yeah, because you're not there to sleep.
Right.
You're there to ghost hunt.
Yeah.
Even if you really want to sleep.
I didn't fly halfway across the country for a nap.
Seriously,
Exactly.
though, I feel you. When we went to Waverly, I wanted to sleep so bad, but I'm like, no.
No, you were like that at the Conjuring house.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm there. Well, my bedtime's 9.
Yeah,
So it's like-
JT doesn't do these late nights, but
I do 'em,
daytime
though.
investigating's not it.
I do them for the pair junkies.
Exactly, as you were saying.
Yeah. So Chrissy and Lexi and I meet at the house. We walk around. I just kind of do like a little vibe check to see how things feel there. I definitely picked up on the kids there. And it just felt like they were watching us like, who are these people? What are they doing? Because it's the place where you get like a lot of people coming in to investigate. And some people are nice and some people aren't. I purposefully did not watch any other paranormal investigations of the house ahead of time because I kind of wanted to go in like blank slate. Sure, I investigated, like researched the crime and everything. But I didn't want to know what other people had experienced ahead of time because I wanted us not to have that bias.
Right.
So I did end up seeing one video where this guy walked into the attic with the creepy dolls and started hitting one of the dolls. I guess he thought that would rile up the ghosts.
Hitting one of the dolls?
Yeah.
That's a choice.
People are weird.
Men.
So I went in and I found the doll and I was like, you're a very nice doll. Please don't be mad at us later. So we did the vibe check. I was like, yeah, the kids are here, but they're just kind of watching us and, you know, they're doing a vibe check on us and saying how we're going to be that night. And then Lexi had purchased some flowers and she found out which cemetery the victims, the Moores and the two little Stillinger girls, had been buried at. So we drove out there and we laid flowers out at their graves.
I have a photo of that.
Yeah.
By the way, I could not put the videos in for the live stream, but they'll be in for the YouTube.
Okay, cool.
But whenever you mention something, I'll have a video or a photo of it up.
So
That's the Stillinger girls, Ina and Lena. And I did not know this ahead of time, but when we got there, right next to their grave was another grave of a Stillinger infant.
Oh.
Apparently, the Stillingers, their mom had been pregnant at the time. And the loss of losing her two little girls distressed her, and she lost the baby.
Oh, I just got chills. Oh, And if you're not familiar with the history of this property, go back and watch our deep dive into the Villisca house, because the Stillinger daughters were staying there as friends of the family.
Just a little sleepover.
Yeah,
and it was so sad. So just quick recap, because I just like jump right into this, like everybody knows who the Moores and the Stillingers are. So we just passed the anniversary of the deaths.
Wow.
It happened on like June 9th and June 10th.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And what had happened was the Moores had gone to a special Sunday service. It was a children's music service, and Mrs. Moore played the piano there. They get home somewhere around 9 or 10 that night, and they asked their two little neighbors, the Stillinger girls, if they could sleep over. They, I think, called home, and their sister was there and said, yeah, like our parents aren't here, but it's fine.
right.
Which, oh my God, I don't even know how she lived with herself after
Right.
that. But everybody goes to sleep. The parents are upstairs. Their kids are sleeping in the bedroom next to them. Their daughter had a bedroom downstairs, but she didn't sleep there that night. The Stillinger girls did. And that night, somebody comes into the house and kills all of them with an axe. The person was never caught. They had a bunch of different suspects over time, and there's still a bunch of different theories out there about who it could have possibly been. Maybe it was one of these guys. Maybe it was none of these guys. Some people even think that maybe it was two different people. Like one came in and killed them, and then one came in later. But nobody really knows, and it remains unsolved today. But yeah, so we went out to pay respects at their graves, and it was so surreal seeing the Moores. I sent you a picture of the Moores, I think, as well.
Moores. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because normally, you know, like we're all spooky people. We hang out in cemeteries a lot. And you'll see family plots where everybody has a uniform headstone. But normally they're all separated because they're buried at different times. With the Moore's family, you have the Moore family headstone that says Moore in really big letters. And then next to it is this whole line of headstones, and it's all really just one big headstone with their names. And like their birth year and death year. And it was so weird to see that because it further emphasized the fact that all these people died on the same night. Very traumatic event.
That's crazy.
For their families and for the community. And as we know from our own experiences, that trauma doesn't go anywhere. It just sits. So once we went to the graveyard, we were like, all right, this is going to be interesting.
Right.
We go back to the house and meet up with our 3 other people who are meeting us there. Amanda and Lindsay, who have their own podcast, the True Creeps podcast.
True Creeps. Okay,
Creeps.
cool.
And they have their own episode coming out soon, right around the same time as this one. So if you want to hear their perspective, you should go listen to their episode. Because they also had their own experiences there.
Sure.
And then our other friend Nora was there with them. And we, unload everything into the barn and we start strategizing. We walk around the house. And I start my first live stream of the night. And this was the one that I did for my Patreon members. I brought out my pendulum and my pendulum board just to kind of ease into it. Because we were like, let's not jump in immediately with a spirit box session. Let's see how things go. Also brought some of the little light up cat balls and tried to talk to any spirits who might be hanging out in the downstairs bedroom where the Stillinger girls died. Immediately, all of us were like, we don't like it in this bedroom. Like, this is...
Do you see the bedroom? Do you see the bedroom up here?
Yes, I think it's the blue one.
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. After dark, like during the day, it felt like they were there. After dark, it just felt like we should not be in that room.
Weird.
And I tried doing a little pendulum board session in there, and it felt like the girls were just kind of messing with us.
As kid ghosts do.
Right, because they were little. They were like 8 and 12, I think, if I remember correctly. And of course, I'm sure they have people come in there almost every night to ask them the same questions over and over again. So with my pendulum board, it points to different words. You've got yes, no, maybe, and rephrase. And they just almost always kept going back to maybe. And all I could hear was like these 2 little girls going, maybe. But finally, we just felt really uncomfortable in that room. We're like, let's move on. So we move on to the kitchen, try the pendulum board in there. And we do get Mrs. Moore, Sara, to talk to us.
Wow.
And it felt just very protective in there. Like she was intentionally sticking around to keep an eye on the place and on her kids.
Sure.
We asked if she could leave, and she said, I don't know. Possibly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And we asked her if she wanted to leave, and she said, maybe. And we were like, that's fair. We did ask her if the kitchen was her favorite room in the house. She said no, and we were like, that is also fair. But then we decided to start doing spirit box sessions. I don't really like spirit boxes that much, just because there's a lot of white noise, and I just find that very overstimulating. Going back through and watching the videos, I had to take so many breaks because after a while I was like, and I'm done. But it was very clear that the family was there and they were talking to us. We got more interaction with Sara and some of the kids than we did with her husband, Josiah. He showed up for a little bit, but he didn't feel as present as everybody else. And I'm not sure if it's because he was the first person killed or what. But everybody seemed really talkative. I made a couple of notes about that. Yeah, so we went upstairs to the kids' bedroom up there. And they have a closet that's full of toys that you can bring out. And the idea is that the kids sometimes play with them. The kids apparently did not want to play with anything that night. They weren't about the cat balls. We tried bringing out some other toys, and they just didn't want to mess with any of it. So since it was starting to get later, we asked if they wanted a bedtime story.
Ooh.
And they do actually have a stack of books up there.
Okay.
So I walked over and I grabbed a book that was about a cat, and I start reading the story about a cat, which I thought they would like because there's a cat that actually lives on site.
Yeah, it's Church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Church is cute. I think I sent you a picture of Church as
Yeah,
well.
I got a picture of Church. I didn't include it but I didn't know how it was going to come up. But
You gotta include pictures.
I
of
guess
Church.
I gotta do
What
it.
kind
yeah.
of what kind of
You're
cat
right.
is Church?
Just a big gray cat.
He looks like Church.
From
Yeah.
wow.
Like spitting image.
If you haven't seen Pet Cemetery, then yeah, that's
And Church followed us around that night and kind of became our barometer of, like, are we okay?
Right.
Are we not okay? But I was like, okay, so the kids have probably seen this cat hanging around. I definitely smelled cat pee up in that bedroom. And I was like, he probably hangs out up here a lot.
Right.
So I picked the story about the cat, started reading this cute little story about a cat going on a little cat adventure. And while I was reading, I felt something.
oh
You know how little kids have like zero idea of a bubble? Yep, there's Church.
oh wow, he does look like Church from
I
Pet
know, I'm getting him
Cemetery.
up there for it. But yeah, as you were saying,
Yeah, so I'm reading the story and I feel almost breath on my face. Like when little kids will be interested in something and they'll just come like straight up to you and start breathing on you.
It's like hello.
I'm like, all right, so someone likes the story. Cool. We finish the story and we start asking the kids if they want to try and play with any of the toys. They don't mess with any of the toys while we're up there. So we're like, all right, we gave it our best shot. We read them a bedtime story. They're good. So we move on to the parents' bedroom. And we start a spirit box session in there. Get more from Sara again. She's very talkative up there. And she starts talking about the piano. There was a piano downstairs that we had tried to mess with earlier. It was really out of tune, so none of us could play anything on it. And I had completely forgotten that she played the piano.
okay.
And someone asked, did you play the piano? And we hear yes. And then somebody else in the group did remember that she had played the piano in church. And we asked, would you like us to play some piano music? And one of us pulled up our phone and played some piano music that they found online. And she started to talk to us a little bit more about her, just, like why she was there, just keeping an eye on things. Then it was
That's how to ghost hunt, not beat a doll.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
Just play some piano music.
Yeah.
Make them comfortable.
Yeah, because it's their house still.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Like we were guests in their house. We even commented a few times, like, Sara, if you're here, like, we love your kitchen, love what you've done with the place. I even took off my shoes while I was in there. I was wearing bedroom slippers because I was like, I don't know if this is a shoes on, shoes off household.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where it felt like things were winding down. And we were like, oh, okay. So like, we'll take our little break now. And as we were winding down and just before they turned off the spirit box, we heard, hey, Lindsay.
Oh, like
And
audibly?
right.
Wow.
And Lindsay was one of the people in our group. And all of us went, oh, all right.
Really?
So they're acknowledging us. Interesting. So we take our break. We go out to the barn for a bit, like drink some sodas, have some snacks. And we're like, all right, now we're going to go back in. And it's closer to midnight, which is about the time when the murders happened. And we're like, so things have been cool up until now. Let's see how this goes. We get back in there and the vibe changes.
Ooh.
We go into the sitting room downstairs and we decide we're going to do an Estes method. Church had been hanging out with us the entire time. When we start doing this, he was not about that.
He's like,
And
Nope.
we were like, oh, well, I guess he's just bored with us. We really should have paid attention to the cat. Always watch the cat.
always watch the cat.
So we get in there and we start the Estes method. It was Lexi who was wearing the headphones and the eye mask, and we are using the Necrophonic app on my iPad. Just because I knew there was a couple of other people who also had like sound sensitivities and stuff. And I was like, this will be easier as opposed to listening to all that static over and over again. And the thing, I'm just going to call it a thing, the thing that we were communicating with at first just kept saying me over and over again. And we kept asking, who is me? Wouldn't tell us.
Me.
And then it says, what happened to me? And all of us get really quiet because we're like, we don't want to be the people to say like, oh, you all got brutally murdered by somebody.
It would make sense because weren't they like hacked in their sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have no idea.
They believe that one of the little girls downstairs woke up.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. It was it was one of the Stillinger daughters but she didn't make it very far, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. But as you were saying.
So we were just like, oh, like none of us want to say that. Then whoever was communicating through the app tells me to sit down. Everybody's sitting. I'm the only person standing because I'm recording. And it says sit down. And I was like, oh, okay. So I walk over to the piano and sit on the piano bench. And then it says, I'm talking to her. And we're like, which her? There's 6 of us in here. And then it says Nora, which is another person in our group.
Dang.
And we're like, I don't like that.
Is it saying y'all's names?
Yeah. And
crazy.
Chrissy has been steadily getting more and more uncomfortable as soon as we started the SD's method.
Right.
As soon as it said Nora's name, she was like, I need to go.
Yeah.
And we had a policy that nobody would be anywhere alone. So I think it was Lindsay who was going to follow her. They start to walk through the kitchen.
Sure.
So you've got the sitting room, has a doorway that leads into the kitchen. From the kitchen, there's a door that leads onto the back porch. There's also that little door that goes to the stairs up to the second floor.
Yep.
Chrissy said that when she got into the kitchen, she heard heavy footsteps on the stairs. Which, it's a small house. Like, no one snuck in. We had eyes on it the entire time. And if it was Lindsay behind her, Lindsay said that she felt something physically push her back as she's right behind Chrissy. And all of us are like, yep, something's off. We need to go.
Dang.
And so we all group up and we're heading towards the door to the back porch. I'm the last person in the group. And I'm like, I don't want to be the brave one. Why am I the last one in the group? And so I had a flashlight on me. I turn around, I'm shining it on the stairs and the doorway to the sitting room. I was like, nothing's going to sneak up on me. But we get out there, we go into the barn, and we're like, all right, we're just gonna take a few moments, calm down. And normally, when stuff like that happens on an investigation, once you remove yourself from the situation, you do have a chance to calm down.
Sure.
You can rationalize things. That didn't happen here. We get out to the barn, and I was standing in the barn with my back to the house, and I was like, I don't feel okay here. So finally I moved to another position in the barn where I can look at the house. And Chrissy took my place. And as soon as she takes my place, she's like, nope, don't like this. And the more we were spending time out there and talking about our experiences and what we heard and what we felt, we were like, yeah, that wasn't the Moores. That wasn't the Stillingers. I don't know what that was. Or at least we didn't at the time. And we are like, okay, do we stay out here the rest of the night? Do we take an hour and see if we can go back in? And if maybe things have calmed down a little bit? It felt, instead of us like calming down, it was ramping back up. All of us felt like we were being watched by something from the porch of the house. Whatever it was bound to the house. It could not leave the house. And we were like, yeah, I don't, like, we're brave, but we're paying to be here. We're not getting paid. So we have an option to leave. Chrissy and I had the Airbnb in that town. We were the only people who were staying in town. We were like, let's just go back to the Airbnb.
Really?
We'll go back there. We can lock the house and we'll come back at sunrise because there's a passcode. We can get back in.
Okay.
And we all start realizing that the majority of our stuff is still in the house.
Oh, no.
Like my wallet, my iPad, everything's still in there. I still have my phone on me. But everything else is in the house, including my shoes. I was still in my slippers.
So this thing was like, it chased you out the house. That's wild.
And all of us were like, you know what? We all drove separately. One person still had the keys to their car. We had a passcode to get into the Airbnb. We were like, let's just all pile into this house. We'll lock the doors to the house so nobody else can go in. And we'll just come back at sunrise. Well, again, I did not want to be the brave person in the group, but we're all sitting there going, who wants to go back to the house and lock the door? And nobody wants to do it. And then my news producer training kicked in, and I was like, well, I guess it's going to be me. So Lindsay, thank God, was like, you're not going up there by yourself. So we start walking up to the house. You have to walk up this little like wheelchair ramp thing to get into the house. Lindsay's right behind me. And as we're walking up, I look back at her. I was like, hold on to my coat. I'm going to reach my arm in, grab the door, and pull it shut. I'm not going back into that house. It's just going to be my arm. If you start to feel me move more into the house, pull me back out. Because I don't trust whatever's in there. And as we're walking up to the door, I get this brief flash, not like a seeing with my eyes, but a seeing with, the third eye. There was something in that kitchen, and it was holding the shape of a man. It was not a man. Figured out what it was later, and I will explain. But it was holding the shape of a man, and it just had just like a smile that was just a little too big.
Oh, no, absolutely
well,
not.
I do love a smiling man now.
Like, oh, they're coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be good. And anytime I get really scared or nervous, I just start to sing because it reminds me to breathe. And so I just start screaming out Against Me lyrics as I'm running to the door to pull it
Wait, what
close.
lyrics to what?
Against Me. It's my favorite band.
Okay.
And Lindsay is like right there behind me the entire time. I get it closed and we're both like booking it back to the car. All 6 of us pile into the same car. Lexi's on my lap. And we go back to the Airbnb. Once we get back to the Airbnb, like we're calm.
Yeah.
Like it's fine now. We, record videos talking about our feelings, like what we experienced. And then we just like, well, we got a few hours. It's like 2 a.m. And Chrissy and I went and crashed in the bedroom for a little bit. Some of them crashed on the couch. We were like, hey, maybe we do get a nap tonight.
Yeah.
Is that one of the videos that you sent me? The one that of you like?
I don't think I sent you that video.
Okay. Well, if you want to, I'll take it. I'll put it in.
Yeah, I'll see. I've got it somewhere. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
So we wake up at sunrise and go back to the Airbnb. Have a couple of problems with the code to get back in because apparently the code that they had sent us in the email was wrong. But we finally found the right code. We get back into the house. Our stuff is all still there. And we're like, well, good. Nobody broke in. It wasn't a scam to get us out so they could steal all of our stuff. And we're like, oh, we should try to do another like spirit box session, Estes method, to see if, whatever was here is still here. So we do. And I sent you the spirit box the Estes method that I did.
Okay.
I sent you that video so you can pop that up.
Cool.
But I start doing that. A couple of us do it. And the answers we were getting were really weird. When I did it, we asked what would have happened if we had stayed.
What would have happened if we stayed?
Psst. Girls, to make it look like him.
Is the family here with us? The Moore family?
If you can whisper a little bit more. Oh.
Is the Moore family here with us?
Beautiful.
Who was the man that Lindsay mentioned?
I'll be with you.
No, absolutely not.
You gotta believe.
No.
No.
You're not welcome.
Let me in.
No, absolutely not.
And the thing said, girls, to make it look like him. Mm-hmm. And we're like,
Yeah.
I don't like that. And then it asked, let me in. And all of us went, no. And then he goes, aw. Because whatever it was, whatever had scared us the night before, I have decided to call it Toothless. Because it is an entity that you see pop up in a lot of places where traumatic events have happened.
Sure.
It is not a ghost. It was never a human spirit.
Right.
It's also not a demon either. It's just this thing that's attracted to pain.
It's parasitic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feeds off of fear. So in places like this, like it can kind of set up shop. Sure. And when people start to get scared, it can kind of enhance those feelings. So there's no coming back down once you start ramping up. But during the day, we could see everything. Like if you hear weird noises, you can poke your head around the corner and you're fine. So it couldn't scare us during the day like it had the night before. It had no teeth. So I call it Toothless.
Okay. I love that.
But
creepy thing.
yeah. But I would love to go back and check out this place again.
For sure.
If y'all ever decide you want to go up there, I am game.
Yeah.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah.
All right. We'll
I'm
put it on the
down.
list. That sounds cool.
Listen.
Can you see how much it costs?
You know, Chris and I always say that these Midwest spirits are hardy because, it's like...
These Midwest spirits are hardy.
They are.
I swear.
No, it's
corn-fed.
They are.
Remember corn-fed ghosts?
Yeah, they're corn-fed ghosts. And it's because...
And soybeans.
And soybeans. Well, it's... No, that's Idaho. I was going to say potatoes, but that's Idaho. But it really is that to live in this type of environment, because it's a pretty harsh environment in general, you have to be a hardy person, especially because they were living there in what? It was like 1910 or something like that.
Like the early 1910s.
That's a hard time to be alive in the Midwest because, there wasn't modern electricity. There wasn't modern heating systems. You're probably living off a lot of crops that are grown nearby, things like that. So in my opinion, that's going to create a hardy ghost that's easily able to sustain. But not surprised that you encountered something that's parasitic.
Yeah. Like in retrospect, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know why none of us thought of that ahead of time.
Well, it's different when you're in the environment.
It is. It is. And like I said, like once we started getting scared, it was really hard to calm back down until we physically got off the property.
Right.
But it bothers me that it ran me off.
You're like, I have to face this thing again. It's
Coming back for Toothless.
going back for Toothless. I mean, with also on top of it being a place where such atrocious crimes happened, it's a very focused energy that people give it because people go there actively to go paranormal investigating. That's naturally going to attract spirits that are like, I need attention.
Oh, yeah.
I need to be the center of attention. Me. And so... me, like your necrophonic app said. But it's you see that a lot with these sort of places, or it could have been something that somebody dropped off too, which is not impossible as well. It was the same way when we were in the Conjuring house. It felt like there were definitely spirits that I'm like, you were not here to begin with. You're definitely a new one to the scene. But also crazy things happen there as well. So it could be that similar sort of parasitic sort of entity.
It ain't expensive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How much did you
just
find it?
$495 for 10 people.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That ain't bad. Now, you with these haunted places, you got to read the fine print because they're like, if you want to film and it's 300 more.
We asked about that because
okay, cool.
Lindsay and Amanda have their own podcast,
sure.
And I was like, I'm going to be live streaming and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, yeah, that's fine.
What?
That's great,
man. That's cool. All right, okay, all right. That'll be more. I think we can swing something then.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Get the Ghost Brothers involved.
See what happens with it. You know,
they'd want to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Ghost Brothers are always down for.
Oh yeah.
A creepy place.
Heck yeah. And to get to Omaha from Tampa, I only know this because of the World Series and Florida State and all that. It was like $144 direct.
Wow.
Oh,
I know. I'm like crazy.
That's
It's
not
crazy.
bad.
no.
Anyway, sorry.
But yes. Also interesting that they keep a cat there. Or
Yeah,
was
I don't know if the cat just showed up and they were like, well, I guess the cat has adopted us or what. But
he's the guardian.
Technically, we weren't supposed to let the cat in the house. But cats just kind of happen.
Yeah.
Cats just happen sometimes, and it was cold.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you saw the picture of that cat. You gonna tell that cat no?
no. He was the guardian of that house, so it's Church's house, obviously.
And after we got run out, Church stayed right outside the barn.
Oh,
Didn't come into the barn, and he had been following us into the barn because Nora had brought some treats. And so every time he was like, hey, I know what you got in the bag.
he's like, hello.
But he stayed right outside the barn, and he didn't face the house. He turned his back to the house. And we were like, yep, that's our little barometer. He's not going back in. We're not going back in.
Well, and that's the thing with cats, though. They really do have a interesting sense of spirits and what's going on and things like that. Total side tangent. My cats have been doing this really weird thing, just as an example for you.
Oh yeah.
So for the past couple days, my cats at night have been sitting in front of my altar, just
Creepy,
staring
y'all.
at it.
Creepy.
My two cats, and usually nighttime, it's crackhead hour. They're, they are running amok and whatnot. But no, like the past few nights, and JT's seen it. My best friend saw it.
I took a photo. I'll show the pair junkies now.
It was basically they were sitting side by side, just staring at my altar. And then JT would walk back and forth, and he's like, "What are y'all doing?" And they just look back at him over the same shoulder, both of them. And so he's like, "Something's happening over there. They're having a meeting or something." This is the photo.
Hold on, it ain't there yet. Hold on. You just keep going.
Well, for
They
Eenie.
can't see that, baby.
I know. Eenie can see, though.
Oh yeah.
And they're adorable.
Thank you. Yes. The black and white one is Widdershins, which means unlucky in Gaelic because he is missing. Well, he's not missing. He has it, but it doesn't work. His one of his eyes. And then the other one is Gilly Doo, which is a very fitting name for her because she is chaos and mischievous. So that is the photo. But yeah, they are literally sitting in front of my altar just staring at it. So clearly something has been trying to communicate with them, give them a message of some sort. So trust your cats when they are interacting with things.
Oh, that reminds me. So something weird happened this week that, okay, maybe it's not actually connected. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this. Y'all can make up your own minds. But on June 9th, the night of June 9th, I had a tour downtown, and we were going by Colonial Park Cemetery. We turned onto the road. Is it McDonough's? There's Fancy Parker's, and there's
Yes.
the Perry Lane Hotel.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's a house over there that has all of this ironwork in front of it.
Okay.
I believe I know exactly what
Yeah, I
the
think I
house
do
you're
too.
talking.
So we were in front of that house. I'm like in the middle of a spiel, and I hear a kitten meowing. And I was like, did y'all hear that? They were like, yeah, we heard that. And we're like, where's this kitten? Because it sounded distressed. And we're like, is it in a tree? Like, we all turn on our flashlights. We're looking up in the trees. We're looking under the cars. And we finally figured out that it had gotten up under a minivan. And we were all worried that it was stuck. So we're like, oh, we're going to go get some paper and a pen. We're going to write a note. We're going to come back, get back. It's not there anymore. The minivan's gone. And we're like, oh, my God. Like, they took off with this cat in there. I hope they heard the cat. And the next night, I'm back out there, and I hear the kitten again. And it was in front of the house again. I start to walk over, it runs off, and I'm like, well, it could use all four legs. It's fine.
Right.
And I text my guest from the night before. I'm like, the kitten's alive. We're all good.
Good.
But I go back later because it was still like yowling. And I'm thinking maybe it's lost its mom. Maybe it's hungry. I'll go back out there, see if I can grab it and get some food. Go back out there, and I hear it, but I don't see it anywhere. And I'm trying to follow the meows. It's in Colonial Park Cemetery now.
Okay.
And I can't get it to come back to me. I'm doing everything. I'm making all the little cute little kitty noises, trying to bring it back over. And it looks at me and it just yowls one really loud time and then walks away. And I haven't seen it since then. So I am like, was that church sending me a sign?
Yeah, right?
Church is like,
Interesting.
don't worry.
And was it a baby kitten or an adult?
It was a kitten, not like a small kitten, but still a kitten.
Sure. Okay.
Church is sending the other, was it a gray cat?
I couldn't see it. It was it was in the shadows.
No, well, Church is sending a shadowy cat. That is very cute, though. And Sara said, always trust the cats. They know what's up. And birds. If the birds go silent, I'm not sticking around to find out. That's a great motto to live by because it's very true. Yeah, birds, and most animals in general, if you stop hearing animal noises, probably reason for concern. The cat collective is looking out for you.
Aw.
That's really sweet, though. But also, I feel like Church was attracted to that house and whatever it's in there, you know, because maybe he's just protecting all the guests and the visitors.
I think so too.
But on the other side of that, I think it's interesting that Sara seems to be still the matriarch of the house and things like that, because we've also seen this recently a couple times. We saw it as well when we went out to the Texas killing fields, where it seems like these moms are coming back as spirits, or they're sticking around as spirits to like watch over children or watch over their loved ones and stuff. So when we were in the Texas killing fields, this one spirit came through and she said her mom came with her. Like her mom, what we think happened was her mom passed after, and her mom chose to basically show up as a spirit and watch out for the girls there.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I know. So sweet. It was actually very sad, very, because it was like, oh, she loves them. So I wonder if that was the same thing. Like Sara maybe was like, I could pass on, but who's going to watch out for the kids?
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. That's the feeling we all got.
Yeah. Which is a good mom. That's very sweet, you know? And, you know, but also that doesn't negate the fact that sometimes spirits don't know how to cross over, especially when people pass so traumatically and so suddenly. Yeah. I mean, you weren't expecting that to happen. So it's not like, you know, you had people there to give you your final rites or give you your final closure to whatever you need to pass on. You don't get that when you die suddenly. And so sometimes spirits are like, well, you know, here I am. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Or sometimes they don't even know that they've passed on.
That was why when they said like what happened to me, all of us were like, no, we're not going to explain that one.
No. Yeah. I mean, who's going to want to tell somebody like, yeah, sorry, you and your entire family and your friends, you know, were brutally murdered. Is there anything in Villisca that, you know, kind of honors that incident, or like
They used to have a little history museum in the downtown area. They have pictures of it at the Villisca Murder House. And we went to go see if we could find it. It's all closed up. Like there's stuff in there, but the roof is coming down. And we also didn't like publicize the fact that we were there to investigate the house because we didn't know what the community members thought.
Right.
We, you know, ate at a couple of restaurants, Christy and I did, and explored a couple of nearby towns. And they were like, why are you here? And we were just like, we're just passing through. Yeah, I think they probably did know because, you know, like I've got bright blue hair. Like, why else would I be in rural Iowa?
That's fair. Well, I mean, I'm sure they get people who are there, you know, specifically to investigate as well, because obviously they offer it if that's, you know.
But the person who owns it, I think it used to be a local person, but now they are affiliated with the same people who own the, dang it, it's gone out of my head. Lizzie Borden House.
Oh,
okay.
Same people.
Wow.
Same people, okay.
Chris had a really good experience investigating the Lizzie Borden house too. So not surprising which I think also good ownership of these properties helps with your experiences, because if you have people who are just like absolutely not taking care of the place or, you know, being very disrespectful to the home, you're going to you're going to stir up some negativity with the spirits.
And the people who worked there were all really, really nice. And you could tell that they really cared about that place.
Right.
And about making sure that, not only that we were safe, but that we're also being respectful. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. This very fascinating experience, though. I would like to go personally.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
down. I just texted
Oh,
him.
did he?
He was like, heck yeah,
Heck
I've never
yeah.
been.
Yeah, I've never been to Iowa in general, so I mean, I'd be interested. Apparently, we need to go in the spring or the fall. It sounds like.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't go in the winter.
No.
Like April was good. It was still a little cooler than I personally like, but it was manageable.
Sure.
I definitely wear sweatpants next time.
Yeah. If it was anything like the Conjuring house, I was frozen the whole time.
no, I
Oh my
couldn't do that.
gosh. If it's also just me, so I don't know if that was.
Well, we're Floridians.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's,
We don't do well in the cold.
We don't, but that's okay. But yeah, so if y'all want us to go to the Villisca Axe Murder House, let us know in the chat or in the comments, wherever you're listening to this. And if you're a parrot junkie, you'll get to see that live because we always live stream for these, which is really fun. And honestly, it's really fun because the parrot junkies ask questions while we're doing the SCs methods and stuff, and they sometimes come up with really interesting questions because they're able to live research for us when we're doing these investigations. So we've found some pretty cool stuff. When we did the Fitzpatrick Hotel and stuff, they were literally like, they're like, I found this person's obituary, and things like that. But yeah, JT, do we have time for our last segment?
No, I think we're good to go.
Alrighty. Well, then you guys are going to have to wait for the next time. But, well, thank you, Eenie, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, anytime.
And if we do make this Villisca trip happen, we will make sure that you are on board with it because I want to, especially because you've been there before, which helps.
That does help. It definitely helps.
It definitely does. But alrighty, y'all. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you don't already follow us on all social media, you can follow us on pretty much every platform under Haunted City Podcast. We're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, all the good things. And also, if you would like to become a parrot junkie, you can find us over on Patreon, and that is where we will be with all the fun content. But with that, my name is Madison Timmons.
And I'm Enika Enfield.
And stay spooky, y'all.